a challenging path for me, raising my son and my daughter here, because most of all, I am a disciplinarian, and coming to Canada, I think I lost most of it because of the challenges. I think you're faced with anxiety, depression, especially being here alone as a single parent, in quotation, because I'm married, but I came before my husband. So my son, he was being bullied in school, and every day he comes home with a complaint. So it weighs me down. I had to be the positive person to encourage him and let him know that, I'm there for him, I love him, and in spite of it all, he is who he is, and he's not to allow persons to ridicule him. He has been through it, I must honestly say. My daughter wasn't that bad as it relates to being pressured, but even now that she's becoming a preteen, I notice now that she's more like peer pressure, wanting to be like the white girls and all of that, and emulating their qualities, which I don't consider the part I would want to grow her as a Jamaican parents, because most people know that we as Jamaicans, we are disciplinarians and we stand up for right and we want to see our children in the right path. So right now I am under pressure as I speak, because I have to be helping her to choose her friends wisely, because she's just this nice, kind, good young lady I can see her as, but I think the outside pressure of life is more than her. So the way that I trained her, she's not really traveling that path right now. So it's becoming so burdensome on me. I have to be every day reminding her who a good friend is, because she comes home, she cries sometimes because she's not in that kind of group that she wants to be, but that is not even the group for her, but she doesn't even realize no, because as she keeps saying, I'm a preteen. So I am honestly telling you, it's a lot of pressure here in Canada growing my two children, and as a mother who really looks out for her children, I am being pressured too, because I really want the best for my children. Thank you for this moment, but it's rough.
Wow. Mm. That clip was from the Jamaican picnic that recently held during the Saskatchewan Day. I want to say to that lady, we understand. As a mother, I have my own daughter and I know what it's like to train her in this environment. We want to send our best wishes to you, want to send prayers, love, strength to you. It's tough, but we're here and we will thrive and we will do good raising our kids. And I know that the Jamaican community, the Nigerian community, we are there for each other to help raise our kids, because there's an African adage that says it takes a community to raise a child. On that pensive note, I would want to welcome you to Canada's first live call-in radio show, The Melting Pot. And I am your host, Izo. Viewers from all around the world, wherever you're tuning in from America, from Europe, from Canada, we are reaching you from Saskatoon, Canada. And this is The Melting Pot. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome to the show. On this show, we strive to educate, we strive to inspire, and we also strive to entertain. It's a show for immigrants, and on this show today, I am not alone. I have a co host. She's wonderful. You like her? I'm almost tempted to say you like her face and her smile. Oh, there's no smile today. I know you saw that video. I know you saw it. Yeah, it's very touching. It touched me in a special place because I also have a daughter that is going to be a teen soon, and I see the challenges. Yeah. What do you think, Emem? First of all, tell us who you are. Yeah.
My
Go
name
ahead.
is I'm really glad to be on the show today, also known as MC Blank.
Yeah.
It's really sad what's going on around the world, and sometimes I give big ups to my mom, to all parents now. Now that we are parents, we now realize that we're going to go through these things, and we need that strong support system. And I just want to let her know that we love you, and we really feel your pain as well. And we know that you're going to navigate it because you're a strong woman and you're a wonderful parent. All right, Iso, thank you so much. How was your week, by the way?
Oh, my week was good. Lots of picnics here and there, so that's the fun part. I had a lot to eat. I was out in the sun all through. Now, it was good up until I saw a video last night, and a heart clenching and very sad video. I don't know if the producers have it. If you can just roll the tape, I would like our viewers to watch this closely.
A kid bringing out his trash to be dumped and he's getting harassed by the police.
He was
So, for
taking
our
out his
viewers,
trash, yo.
there's a young
His dad's coming out to
Jamaican,
see why
12
they
years
have put
old.
his son
His
in
dad sent
handcuffs.
him to go and dump the trash. And just about when he was doing it, he got handcuffed by the police merely because they say he fits the profile of some criminal that they are they're looking for. Now, without proper investigation, they've handcuffed the boy, and the father is really upset. I'm going to allow you listen a little bit, and then I'll
Yo,
also
they
give a
put him in
background to
handcuffs. He
this.
was just coming to dump.
That's the father over there, really upset. Kind of using swear words.
Yo,
Please
that was some
permit
wrong shit,
the
yo.
language. Permit the
But what the
language. You can
kid
hear
do,
some
though?
swear words being used, but the person that is also doing the video is also pissed by what he's saying because the kid was just taking out trash and he got handcuffed.
What?
If you even needed to question the child, did you need to put him in handcuff? He didn't have any weapons on him. So these are the
This is
challenges. A young migrant
no.
child, a Jamaican, he was taking out the
It's
trash. Amen.
unacceptable.
He was taking out the
No.
trash. It's I know usually viewers, you're used to me all gussed up, all energied, but you see these things and it weighs heavily, heavily on your soul. Weighs heavily on your heart. So this video kind of ties to our topic today. And our topic for today is raising your kid in the 21st century, the challenges of an immigrant parent. I know you have views about that video. Let me hear what you have to say, ma'am. What do you think?
It's unacceptable. And I don't want to believe it's an intentional act because this is just becoming too rampant. And I
Yeah,
think maybe the protests are not enough. They don't think to be, I don't know. I think there should be some kind of board meeting where they sit down and this should stop. We are humans
yeah,
too. It's scary. I have children. I can't tell my son to take out the trash and someone is coming to harass him, telling me
exactly.
he fits the description of a criminal. Please. That's
That boy
dehumanizing and
would
it's
be
unacceptable.
he'll be traumatized by that. Even
Yeah.
though I
Yeah.
don't know, I think after they found that they were accusing the wrong person, but you have traumatized that child. And well, I know we have some public views, so we're going to go to one of our videos that was taken in the Winners Chapel picnic, and then after that we'll be right back with our guest. Don't go anywhere. We have guests on the show that are seasoned people that have been into parenting and youth development. They would want to navigate this conversation and steer us in the right direction. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
These days they've gone digital.
when I was young, we used to do most of physical exercises. We play ball, we do a lot of physical things. But now, these kids are permanently on their tabs. They wouldn't even have time to even do any other thing. They just stay on the television and on their tabs. That's one very ugly experience here. And then secondly, there's a story here where they tell the kids in school that if your daddy beats you up, you come and report to police. And I don't find that funny. You see, from where I'm coming from, we're Africans, and we have to show respect for parents. Biblically, it's also expected that the Bible says we should not spare the rod. But here, it's a taboo to even lay your hands on your child. And you see, when these children get to realize that your daddy is not supposed to touch you, they begin to go wild. So for me, that is not encouraging at all. But then, it's still a nice place to be. At least the country has really humbled us, and it's a regulated environment. So we hope that they'll grow to be better children.
That's how you know when an African father is talking. The part where he said that they don't give them the chance to, discipline the child, like really whoop the child. It sounded as though my dad was speaking, because if my dad gives you a whooping, you know that there's a difference between June and July.
I can imagine.
But go ahead, and then.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. It's an African thing, and that's how we instill discipline. So now that you're in a new country, you have to do what you have to do to align with what the country wants. Okay.
Totally. So,
Yeah.
viewers, it's good to let you know that our lines will be open by 7:15 for you to call in. It's a call-in program, so you have to call in. And the numbers to reach us by is, just give me a moment, it's 306-564-4961. And don't forget to subscribe. We want to grow our subscriber base to 1,000. So please subscribe, like, share, especially on today's topic. Please comment. Comment. We really want to hear what you have to say. So we're going to bring on our guests. We have on the show today Ara Talks. She's a parenting and life coach. And we also have Bumi Omega. There we go. I can see her. And she is a child development enthusiast who has led several developmental initiatives in Africa. Ladies, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So it's nice to be here.
I must say that
Yeah.
Ara Talks, I
Awesome.
like the fact that your headset matches your blouse. It's giving me Barbie vibes. So that's, I don't know if it was done deliberately, but it looks really good.
It's Barbie
And
season.
Bumi, I wish I can rock a mohawk the way you rock it. It's just
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. It's wonderful. You're
thank you
welcome
very
to the
much.
show.
It's actually not intentional. This is for my daughter, and I was told you have to look pretty. So yeah, so it's just coincidental. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you, Izo. Thank you, MM. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And I know you
All
have something
right.
for our guests.
Oh yeah, I just want to say first of all that you both look beautiful, and I think it's a tradition to bring
Thank you.
beautiful women onto this show,
Mm.
so that
Aww.
we know that as immigrants we represent. Yes. So I'm going to be shooting my first question to Bumi. Bumi,
Okay.
I know you've had so much experiences with children, and
Mm,
you're not new to the children game. You know how it is. Now, as
mm,
immigrants, there are certain things we've experienced here that are like culture shock, and we are like, is that how they do? Just like what the man said. You come here and you realize that someone is already telling your child in school, if your father should do this or that to you, you come tell us, or you come talk to the police or something like that. How do we help immigrant parents transition, get used to the new system now? How do you navigate such difficult situation? Because it's not easy to whoop your child and your child reports you. You know, it's not easy at all. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Like I said, I'm quite a new immigrant, and I will be speaking a lot from my own reality, and I believe the reality of many others, but it doesn't represent the reality of everyone. So I'll be speaking from that reality. So I needed to put that caveat so that it doesn't look like, oh, I'm just saying something and it's not relatable to some people. I would also like to, when we talk about challenges or want to discuss challenges, it's also good to know what the pros are. I mean, what the advantages are. What was it we saw in, for example, coming to Canada or leaving our country to another country with our kids, our children, our family? What are the advantages? What are the things that we're looking out for? Knowing that, we must have heard these things over back home in Nigeria. We hear these things. I mean, we have relatives abroad. We hear the different, challenges and all that. But in spite of that, we still chose to come to this system. Why did we choose to come in the first place? Now, I'm going to answer the question. I believe most importantly, we wanted our children to be exposed, right? We wanted them to have the right exposure. We wanted them to be able to travel the world, have a second citizenship. Now, I have to be real, like, be able to travel the world, create a better opportunity for them in the future. I think that trumps all. Like, that is that's one of the major reasons why immigrants like us, like me and you, have moved to another country for better opportunities for our kids. And I will come back to that because as much as that is an advantage, I also see that that is where the disadvantage, that exposure, I mean, to another culture is where the disadvantage is coming from. So we also have the advantage of a better economic condition. I would like to stress that because of time. And we also have access to social amenities. We have work-life balance. If you've stayed in Lagos, you know what work-life balance is here, and in comparison with being in Lagos, where you have to come back in the middle of the night, spend most of your time in traffic. You don't have that here. So you have more time for your family, but that is relative. We have people who do more than two jobs and, they have to make ends meet and they don't even have time for their family here. And I would also, I'm sure we'll also have to talk about that because that is very important to in parenting in diaspora. Having quality family time is very, very important. If you are really going to achieve the purpose why you moved your children in the first place. And that is why I'm going back to, that thing, on we need to know the purpose. Why are we here in the first place? We need to come from that before we now start talking about the challenges. So talking about the
Thank you, Bumi.
challenges, I mentioned coming into a different culture, cultural shock, like you said. There are elements of this cultural shock. We have dressing, we have ways of communicating, which was
Okay.
something that I found very, very, interesting. I would
Thank you, Bumi.
let you,
Sorry that I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah,
interject. I don't want you to give off all
sure,
the goodies all at once. So you would
yeah,
allow us a little to steer the ship so that we can stretch this
sure,
conversation all the way. So I'm going to pass the
sure.
ball to Ara Talks. From your own experience, what some of the most common cultural clashes because Bumi talked about, okay, we came here because we wanted a better life for our kids. We want more opportunities for our kids. Now that you are here, what are
Mm-hmm.
the cultural differences and clashes, and how have you been able to navigate that in your own reality and in your own family?
Okay, thank you very much, Izo. Thank you for the question. But before I go ahead, I'd like to say a few things about the question you asked from Bumi. I remembered I once worked in one of the very elite schools back in Nigeria, and I do see parents who bring in their children, and by the side, they will say, "It's getting out of hand. We brought him to Nigeria to the boarding school so you can kind of discipline him." I just listening to the man that was talking about his child. Like Bumi said, we need to know why we brought them here. I've told my daughter a couple of times, straight into her eyes, if you try that with me, I'm going to take you back to Nigeria. Don't try with me. She once
I
told
can
me,
relate.
yeah, she once
Yeah.
told me that, mommy, they say you cannot beat. I say, I will beat you. Hmm? You will go and report to that Oyibo man. Hmm? And when you get there, you'll be taking care of dogs. They'll be giving you. Oh no!
I
The
can
thing
relate
is
to
that
that,
what really
honestly.
saddened me when I came here. There was one day I was somewhere and I was trying to talk to my child, and the woman said, "Na Canada we do." I said, "No, no. Even though we are here, let's never forget." I tell my child, "Who brought you here? Is it did you bring yourself?
Mhm.
No. Who brought you? You are my dad. Very good. You want to go and stay with the white man? I don't have any issue with that. Go ahead. They will take care of you. Did you see the food they eat? You will eat that food,
Mac and cheese.
Basically, I just tried to tell her that if this is what is getting you to be interested in the white people, look at the other side and see that it's not actually as interesting as it seems to be.
Mm.
I told
Mhm.
her we have a culture. So based on just what the man said, he still has the right to take a stand. He has the
So
right to
how do you
say,
bridge
look,
that cultural clashes? Because I remember you said, oh, they have mac and cheese, and so how do you bridge that? Is it just by communication, or you employ other means to bridge that cultural gap?
when you mean, do you want to rephrase the question so I
Let me
really
rephrase this. So
get what you
you
mean? Yeah.
said that you talk to your child that we are not the white, we are different from
Mhm.
them. They have this kind of cuisine, we have this kind of cuisine. They have this kind of mannerism, we have this kind of mannerism. So I'm asking, is it only by verbal communication that you try to merge both cultures, or you employ, I know my dad, like the man said, will whoop the child, that's not talking. So do you employ beyond talking? Do you
Yeah.
maybe give corporal punishment, you withhold allowances? How do you make sure that your message gets home? Is it just verbal? That's my
Yes, of
question.
course, I do all that. I remember 2 days ago, I was somewhere and my son was frustrating me. Right there, I gave him the spank because I tried to tell my daughter that don't try that with me. Yes, we are here, but we still have the value. But one thing I try to, yeah, I do that, and I also do when we're going out, and I tell my daughter, you need to do this. And she says, Mommy, I said, okay, no problem. You're going out to the store. Please don't ask for anything in the store. I mean, you don't want to do anything. I'm not doing anything for you. So yes, apart from the verbal communication, apart from like making her to see the other side, and I
Mm-hmm.
also do something we call reflection. Reflection goes
Mm.
beyond talking.
Mm-hmm.
Reflection goes beyond every other thing, corporate punishment, taking things away, making her find out the answers by herself. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Mm.
I
totally. I
try
get
as
that.
much as
Totally.
possible, yeah, to do that. And that has really worked for me in so
Mm-hmm.
many ways. Even despite the
All right.
fact that we have a culture, there are still some things to embrace from them. I mean, I was talking to one of my white friends, and she said to me, "I think we have a lot to learn from you." What happened that day? I mean, I was talking with her. My daughter came and started interrupting, and I said, "Hey, girl, talking to somebody." He said, "No, don't worry." I said, "No, she needs to learn. I mean, she's
Yeah.
going to do that one day, and it's not going to work." He said, "Wow, that's interesting. I think I like that." Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think yes, we have a culture is to come like to merge it in between. And how do we do that?
Totally.
Apart from what we do as parents, we also allow the children, because it's time for relearning, the children to
Mm-hmm.
come and say, this is what is happening. You listen to them,
Yeah.
try to understand beyond what the child is saying, and try to see how you can bring the two together. But the most important thing is the child has to be able to see for him or herself
Sure.
the way out. Because
Totally.
keep telling the child this, that, sometimes to know, but giving the child the space to find the answer, I think it's a good way to merge the
All
two
right.
together.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
I would
that.
like
I
to.
you
Can I
just
add to something that Ara just mentioned?
oh definitely. I was gonna come to you
Okay.
anyway, so
Yeah.
you can shoot. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah. So she was saying something in around communication, and I just wanted to add, it might be something she's already doing and she's not even paying attention to. Okay, talking about communication, communicating with these kids, I think the right strategy is being very authentic. Like she's already doing that. This is who we are. The genuineness. This is where we're coming from. We're Africans. We have our own values that are
Mhm.
good because we have those ones that we need to give up, and then being also exemplary, like showing examples.
Yeah.
I'll give an
Yeah.
instance. I when I came in here, I was always wearing artificial hair, this wig. I love it. I bought a lot of it, and then my daughter said to me one day that you make my hair, but you are not proud of your own hair. You are always
Oh
wearing wig,
wow.
and I said, no, I wear wig because it's fashion to me. I love it. You see, I have different wigs. It's not because I'm not proud of my hair. It has nothing to do with not being proud of my hair. And because she said that thing, I had to make a conscious shift too. Because I really love my natural hair anyway. It can be a bit stressful, but I had to do that for her at that point in time. That doesn't mean I don't wear wigs. I still wear wigs, but just to counter what she's trying to, what is trying to grow in her, she
Hmm.
feeling that I have a problem with identity. I
Yeah,
have
my hair
to
is not fine.
show it in action, not just in words, that I'm actually proud of my hair.
Mm.
So you see, she became more comfortable with wearing her braids. She became more comfortable with even threading her hair and all that. So I think talking about communication in words, verbally, and also in conduct is very, very important. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to add to what she said.
Is it okay to add
Okay.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Emma, you
before you
had a
Okay.
ask,
question? Yeah.
Yeah.
there was something she mentioned that I would like to, also address, because it's not enough to just talk. It's also good that you
Mm,
live an exemplary life. You are the type of
mm.
parents that would say, "Do not lie," but then again, when an uncle is coming from the gate, you tell the uncle, "Ah, go and tell I'm not
I'm
around."
not around.
Do you understand? Yeah. So
Not
these are
good.
the things. These are the things that when these children see, our children are so wise. Like they are so. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
the word to use. They are so they're so sharp mouthed that they counter what you say immediately. So sometimes you're like, where is this coming from? So yeah, I totally agree with you on that, Bumi. That's a very, very valid point. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Mm.
Okay, so I have another question, but before I say my question, the lines are open and you can call in and we will take your questions. Also, for our viewers, those just tuning in, our topic today is raising the kid in the 21st century, the challenges of an immigrant. And to be part of the conversation, go to our YouTube, subscribe, like, share, comment, and we would really love to hear from you. So I want to ask Bumi a question. Oh no, Bumi, you said you are a recent immigrant. So are your kids in
Yeah, I
school?
am.
Are your kids
Yeah,
in
I have a
school?
child. I have an 8-year old in school, and then
Okay,
I just
so
add
this
my
question
twin babies.
you
So
can
yeah,
you can give me you can give me some
yeah,
good feedback. So when
yeah.
you came here and you saw the
Mm,
educational system here, which is
mm,
slightly not just slightly, it's kind of different from the way we learned back in Nigeria. I
mm-hmm.
remember that. Okay, I'm going to tell this funny story very quickly. I remember growing up as a
Okay.
child, I used to be top 10. And
Mm,
there was a time I got tied up in some 10-10 gang, people that play 10-10, and I dropped from sixth position to 32nd position. And my mom was livid. My dad, they
Oh.
gave me a whooping like never before.
Ooh.
But because I had positioning to guide, I was able to see that I've really fallen off the wagon and I was able to get myself back. Now you come to this place and they don't use positions when they give their
mm,
report cards. So, in that
mm.
regard, how do you now cope with raising your kid when you know that the child is coming from where they give first,
Yeah.
second, third position and stuff like that?
First of all, there's a lot to say about the educational system here. I had a lot of experience in my first year because my daughter came in here in September, just at the beginning of an academic session. The first thing was, you know, having to communicate. We adults even face that cultural shock, the way we communicate. Like, is a bit aggressive on their own side. They feel we are a bit aggressive. They feel that way because they are not used to us, not that we're actually aggressive or we actually see it as aggressive. So I needed to orientate my daughter. I needed to talk to her about it. And then, she comes from a competitive setting where it's always first
Exactly.
to finish, first to finish. And then she rushes over her work. She gets everything because she had to repeat her class, and you know how it is back home. Like they will teach some, even I do not really appreciate the style of learning, I must say, because I'm also an educator. I've worked in a school, and I see my daughter is from a Montessori, pure Montessori background back home, and I see the difference. So I see that rush. I'm rushing to, because she moved from a Montessori system to the normal school system before we moved here. So I saw the struggle and the difference to transit. So, you know, focusing on competition, being the best and all that, and not really focusing on the substance, like understanding the why. So I had to orientate her on that. And I had to orientate her teachers. Another thing I noticed there is labeling, you know, trying to give a name to a particular kind of behavior.
Yeah.
I would say tagging. It's unnecessary. Like, it is a bad behavior, address it, but tagging and say, oh, she's like this. So I tell my daughter, you are not like that. You don't belong to any spectrum, ADHD or whatever. You just have a lot of energy, and we need to channel it correctly. you know. So we get some reports. She's all over the place. She's busting of. She's hyperactive, and maybe we need to take her for therapy. Just few months in here. Luckily, she's not in the public system. She's in a Christian school, not even a Catholic school, and we have like a relationship with the school system because we also attend the church. So we're able to speak to them as family, like this child is experiencing some kind of cultural shock. She misses her friends in Nigeria, so she's going to have there's going to be some kind of struggle.
Outburst.
So you need to help her. It's not You need to understand her, not her going to therapy, because that might even destroy her. You trying to label her and say there's something wrong with her. you know it turned out that she came out, she had several awards in her different subject areas. In fact, it's just the way they do things here. They don't like to, put the position and all that. But she had several awards showing she's actually the best. She was the best in her paces. She was the best in this, best in that. So she was actually an outstanding student. Within the 1 year she had attended school here. So that's how much potential, very good, potential we have, even with our educational system, the strong points. And of course, the weak side is something that we can manage as parents with our parenting, just being intentional, being able to communicate with their school system is very, very important because, like I said, those things I noticed, labeling, quick to tag, not trying to understand our children, the culture, how they've been raised to that point before they moved to Canada, not trying to understand that these people are just new immigrants and you need to understand them, trying to use their system to pass the judgment, like to assess the child. It's really a struggle. And communication is just the communicating with the school system, the teachers, also talking to the child, helping the child transit and letting the child know that, see, this is a different culture. It's going to take a while. There's nothing absolutely wrong with you. You're good. You know, instilling confidence in the child is very important. That's why I talked about authentic communication. It's very important. Knowing, making them understand that where you are from somewhere. You know, you don't need to drop your identity. Your color, your hair, your everything about you is okay.
Your uniqueness.
You are just entering. Yeah, celebrate your uniqueness. You are okay. But you know as a human being, you're a social animal, an higher animal, and you need to also work with the realities of your environment. You need to be able to take the good things in their culture and adopt it. There's nothing,
Thank you
you're
so
good.
much. That's such a
So it's very important. Yeah.
fantastic answer. I know you want
Yeah.
to ask Aratok something, so I'm going to pass the ball to you.
Yes. So, right now in Canada, there are protests all around Canada, of course, and the world in general about gender inclusion, gender education in school. Now, for immigrants, it's not something that we are used to, and having to because these children, our children, we send our children out to school and they meet different types of people, or you understand. So we need to prepare them. What do you suggest would be the best method, or how do we prepare them for these types of discussion or conversation when they come up? I'm talking about gender inclusion or and gender education in schools.
Is that for me?
Yes.
Yes, Aratok
Yes,
is
it's
for
for
Oh, okay.
you.
you.
Okay. Sorry,
Yes.
I didn't know. Okay, so the reality is, it has come to stay. Uh, yeah, but I did experience a little bit back in Nigeria, but when I came here, I saw the reality, and oh my god, it seems very funny to me. I mean, the first week I entered into Canada, and I saw somebody at the mall. He came and I was like, oh, so it just dawned on me that, oh yeah, this is the reality. Like he said it was Victoria. I said okay. So then coming to our kids, what I have done particularly, especially during the week of Pride, that it was Pride everywhere, and my daughter told me, I didn't even realize. She said, "Mom, do you know that's Pride?" So I asked her, "What do you think? What's your view
Mm,
on this issue?" Because no matter what you say, they have their mind. They have
mm,
things in their mind that they are thinking about. So I wanted to know from her perspective what she thinks about it. Do you like it? And I usually tell her, don't be afraid. Don't say, oh, I want to tell my mom or my dad what I want them to hear, because they are this kind of people. And I mean, she expressed herself. I ask her questions a lot. I think we need to ask probing questions from these kids to really know what's going on their minds. I mean, you can tell them everything in the world. She recently started saying she wanted to fix nails. I told her everything. She refused. She fixed the nails. And I asked, how do you feel? I saw her hiding the nails. I said, no, I need. Yeah, decide. So where am I going? I've been telling her, but she still decided she wants to fix the nail. And so it's talking to them for me. It's looking at
Totally.
where they are coming from. What are you thinking? Because they know what it is. Let's not kid ourselves. They know that mom, dad from Nigeria, they don't like it. This is not them. But you want to ask them free spirited. Oh, this is what is happening. Oh, why are they doing that? What's happening? They will tell you. Especially if you have never put
Mm.
fear into them, they will tell you exactly what they feel, and you will direct them. So what I do majorly is I started talking less or correcting or pointing out. I do more of probing questions. What's on your
Hmm.
mind? What do you think about this issue? Because I mean, they are very intelligent, and they know the truth. They know what's happening. What do you think? This and that. They will tell you. So she told me that, oh yeah, you know, I saw the expression, she doesn't like it. So I said, okay, that's good for me. Then we can know how to redirect. So asking and redirecting for me is the way out where we are right now. Because you say from today till tomorrow, another example, I think when the winter was about going away, they don't like to dress up. And she wore the shorts and the short. And I, before now,
mm,
say, oh, don't wear it, don't wear it. She wore it.
mm,
She
mm,
left. Then when she stepped out, the person she wanted to me say, ah, why are you
mm,
dressed like this? She felt ashamed and she came back to change. I just had
mm,
to put my face away like I didn't see. So sometimes,
Ara,
yes, sometimes
mm,
we have
Ara,
what I've learned here is
yeah,
talk
mm,
less,
yeah,
show more example, like
hmm,
allow them to
mm,
reflect, give them the space to be
yeah.
themselves, to be human. Let them talk to you, then you redirect. It has actually worked.
Oh,
Asking and
yeah,
redirecting to the right place,
yeah.
as I think
So
is a
Ara
way I
talks
feel that we
this.
can break the gap. Yeah, sorry.
Thank
Ara
you
talks,
so
there's
much.
something that I take away from what you said. Ask
Mm.
mm,
and redirect.
Yeah.
Yes.
In short, it's something that should be written on a plaque
I'm
and
gonna
put
write
in
it
your
down right
true.
now.
bedroom. Ask the
Mm-hmm.
child so that
Ask
you know the
and
child's
redirect.
thoughts and then redirect. Now, I must
Mm,
chime in here that we we advocate tolerance. We are in our unique, whilst maintaining our unique heritage. We understand that we should be tolerant of people's views and people's opinion when it comes to gender and gender education. But we would communicate to our children our heritage, our uniqueness, and encourage them to be tolerant because we are in Canada. We are a people of mixed views and mixed beliefs. So that's where I would want to put that. It's very important. Ask and redirect, but at the same time maintain your heritage and allow for inclusivity and tolerance. So we are going to go to one of our videos that we did um, during the course of the week on this subject matter, because we also spoke to the public. And once we come back from that video, the conversation continues. Don't go away anywhere. Stick around.
It's just basically staying ahead of the game. And what I mean by staying ahead of the game is that you have to learn yourself so you can guide them and teach them. For me, it wasn't so difficult for me because my boys, they were instilled, discipline was instilled in them from an early age, and they didn't really stray from what was instilled. Pick the sense from the nonsense, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's just to be ahead of the game and make sure that you teach your children um, to preserve their culture and make sure that you guide them in the best way possible and correct them when they go wrong.
In Canada, children are encouraged to speak out, to be vocal about their likes, norms, like dislikes. Whereas in Jamaica, children are raised with the nuance that children must be seen and not heard. However, raising a child in a society where the cultures are different, one of the things that I've had to do to strike the balance is to teach my daughter. Obviously, I have to teach her to speak up because you don't want her going to school or in other environments to feel as if she's less off than anyone else. So that is one thing that I've encouraged her to speak up, but to balance it, speak up being mannerable, and knowing, respecting elders and persons who are of who are her superior within the society. So it is something that it is hard at times to teach her because at school she's definitely taught to speak whatever she feels, however she feels. At home, sometimes I may consider that to be rude. So it's constant conversation, communication, and reiterating to her that mommy loves her, mommy and daddy loves her very much. Obviously not having my family around. In Jamaica, you don't really worry about daycare, taking a child to daycare. There's always an aunt and cousin who you can entrust to leave your child with. So that has been one of the biggest struggles for my husband and I to balance work, balance child care, and still having her feel like there's a family around. So you find that coming to Canada, your friends are very critical because your friends become now your family, and especially friends who are from the same background. That obviously for me also is also instilled in the culture because there she's Canadian, but I want her to be connected to her Jamaican culture. So from the food that we cook on a daily basis, to the lingos that we teach her, to the phrases that we teach her and explain to her on a regular basis, and trying to make sure that she stays in connection with her grandparents in Jamaica, her cousins, her aunts, through regular video call and phone calls, using technology to keep the culture and the connection alive. That's some of the things that we've definitely had to do. And obviously in the home, we speak to her in Patois, which is the Jamaica's native tongue. Yes, we do speak proper English, but we speak to her in Patois, making her understand that this is her culture, this is who she is. And when she speaks Patois, we have no problem with it in public or in private. We encourage her to speak it as long as she knows that not everyone will understand when she speaks in that tone, and she can do the transition from Patois to standard English when it is appropriate for the environment that she's in. Obviously, another thing is ensuring that we take her to these cultural festivals that embraces the culture of our society and other Caribbean natives, for her to understand not only the culture of Jamaica, but the history of the Caribbean society and other persons in the diaspora. It has been a phenomenal journey. Of course, it has its challenges, but she's the reason why I'm here. So we continue to make
those struggles become allowing those struggles to become progress in its own way, to grow a child that in Jamaica we would say is not a crafty society.
Press the on button on the side through the wire.
Wow, what so many to unpack from that video. If you're just tuning in, this is the Melting Pot, and our topic for today is raising a kid in the 21st century, the challenges of an immigrant family. So, Emem, you watched that video, right? So much to unpack, but I took two things I took
Yes.
away. The language, you can't lose your heritage, your language,
Yes.
your means of communication. You can't lose that. And also, sometimes it's good to take the kids to festivals. Like, there have been picnics here and there where
Oh
the
yeah.
Nigerians in Saskatoon, the Yorubas, the
Mhm.
Igbos, take them there so that they know more about their culture. That's also another form of education. What do you think?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
Yes, we cannot get lost in another man's land, And
yeah,
though we have
At all.
settled in and we are enjoying the benefits of this beautiful land, we should also remember that we came from somewhere. And it's also
totally.
beautiful to allow these children engage, so that when they decide to go back home one day just to visit or, remain there, they don't act like they don't feel like they're aliens, they don't feel like they don't
Mhm.
belong. So that way you've prepared them for what is ahead to come. So yeah, I totally agree with what she said.
Yeah. We want to thank Ara Talks, one of our guests, for chiming in and giving us her thoughts. Real, like I said, I'm taking away ask and redirect. I'll put it in some plaque and keep it somewhere so that it
It's
serves
gonna
as
be on my
a
wall.
guide emblem for me. Thank you, Ara Talks.
Oh
And
yeah.
we have another guest in the house. We just keep bringing them. We want to give you the best on this show. So
Thank you.
we bring from different walks of life. And the next guest we have that is going to be chiming in alongside Bumi, that's her there, Marina Eteng. Oh my God. I hope I pronounced
Yay,
your
I'm
name
The
right.
here.
popular Marina. Marina, do you know you're a celebrity?
Yeah,
Do
she
you
Yes,
know that
so
you're a
is a
celebrity? You're
human
worldwide.
resource
Well,
advisor and a content creator. I love your hair. I love your glasses. I love your smile. In
you.
short, I tell you,
I love your
you're
house.
sparkling.
Hi, Bumi.
Welcome,
how are
welcome,
you
welcome,
Thank
doing?
you.
Marina. Nice to have you here.
I'm
Yeah.
very well, thank you. It's such an honor to be here. Like I feel like I've blown. Like I'm here. I'm so excited. Really
Yay,
excited.
yay. Okay, so I don't know if you got to watch the video, but I'm going to just throw a question to you right away. And then as the conversation progresses, I'll probably pick some more videos so that you can react to it. Now, we're in this country where
Mhm.
you have access to technology, tabs, internet,
Mm.
24 hours. Kids are always on their tabs and everything. So, raising kids in this scenario, I remember back home in Nigeria, even with the phones, the data was one thing. So, you had to buy data. So, that kind of put a control on how much the child can watch. But here, you're not buying data. Sometimes you find your kids, they're watching non-stop. So, where do you draw the line from excess exposure to technology and technology that educates?
Okay, so for us, I mean, it's a struggle that almost every immigrant parents is dealing with now, like just the excessive dependence on gadgets and technology. What we have done in our family is to put like restrictions, put like controls. So instead of just handing them a tablet for to get drunk on just watching and consuming things that you don't totally have control over. We have a lot of controls that we've put in place. So their tablets, I have control over. I see everything that they browse through. I see the history of what they're looking at. They cannot download anything without express permission from either my husband or myself. And the tablet shuts down at a particular time in the day. I have a
Oh,
number of
wonderful.
hours that is allocated to each child on the tablet per day. During the school year, it's an hour during the week, and I think 2 hours or 3 hours on the weekends. Because we've been on holiday the last 2 months, I found out that 1 hour a day was no longer sufficient. So I increased that to like 3 hours a day and then found other activities for them to do so that they are not bored, not going from tablet to TV, back to tablet to TV. We try to incorporate as much physical activity, something that takes us outside of the house. It could be like bike riding, could just go walk around the neighborhood or go out. So any opportunity to be out of this house, I jump on it. And we have a rule that the tablets stay in the house. So if we're going out, you're not taking the tablet, because that's where
Mhm.
you're learning. So when you go out, I want you to be able to have conversations with people, talk to people, meet people, make friends. So the tablets never leave this house. So as much activity as we can do outside the house automatically means less screen time. So that's kind of how
Great
we
one.
balance it out, like put those controls in place, shut the tablet down at particular times of the day. So you know that, okay, you're going to either go and read a book or do some screen time is very controlled. Like I am that mom, the hawk. I want to see everything that is happening. I want to know what you're browsing. I will block it if I'm not comfortable with it, because nowadays it's not everything that is marked child that's
Yeah.
actually for children. So yeah, I try to pay
Mm.
very close attention to what they're looking at and how long they're spending looking at those things.
Wonderful
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
Now, for this topic, let me just chime in here before we continue our question. There's so much we went to the public to ask, so we have lots of videos for our viewers, and I've gotten a go ahead from our producers that they would extend the time beyond an hour, and we're really grateful for that. So, thank you, producer. So, Emem, I'm going to pass it over to you. I know you have a question for Bumi and you have a question for Marina. Go ahead, girl.
Yes. So to Marina now, okay, and Bumi, I would like to also hear your view on that. There are financial pressures and academic challenges or expectations, rather, that these children have, and they are considered challenging because, especially when it comes to finances, how to plan your child's future, savings and stuff like that. How do you advise immigrant parents on the financial education of their children, and also the expectations considering the educational, there's so much words in my mouth right now. Shush, 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 I'm trying to get it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, how do you advise parents on savings, especially this RESP and stuff like that? All those terms and stuff can be very confusing. What are your thoughts on that, Marina?
Let's be honest. When we move here from a country like Nigeria, and the first reality that hits us as the parents is the just not being able to find commensurate work because of where you're coming from. There's very it's getting better now, but it was bad to the point where there was no trust in our education, no trust in our experience. So when you come here, it's almost like you have to start from rock bottom. That's one of the first challenges that we face. So when you can't find commensurate work, it reduces your economic power. You have to then work twice as hard. For some people, they have to do two, three jobs to be able to make ends meet for their family. All of that time that we spend doing all of that work trying to make ends meet, it takes away from our family time, which is one of the struggles that we face. Not having enough time for our families because we have to do all this work and hustle and make sure that there's a roof over the head of our families and there's food on the table. Until we come to that point where our basic needs are met. Basic needs being the shelter, there is food, there are clothes on our backs. People are not going to be able to save for the future. We have to call it what it is. So until we're
Yeah.
at that point where you feel like, okay, we're no longer struggling with, I don't know how the rent is going to be paid, I don't know how the bills are going to be paid, saving for the future will not be priority. But thank God, in a place like Canada, some benefits come with being here as a permanent resident, where your children get a stipend a month, regardless of how little it is. For us, that's where we started from.
Mm.
When our children got RESP, what's it called? Childcare benefits every month, we would save compulsorily. We consider the childcare benefits money that is not our own. It's not
Totally.
money that we expect. It's not money that we knew was coming. So it was a nice extra. That's where our
Hmm.
savings started from. So we would split the childcare benefits. 60% will go into compulsory RESP for them. And then the other
Hmm.
40% we will use for their basic needs, like their clothes, like all the things that they need until we got to the point, my spouse and I got to the point where we had stable jobs, we started to become upwardly mobile in our careers, then 100% of their childcare benefits went straight into their RESP, and we could then even top it up. So
Yeah.
it's not negotiable. Honestly, it's not negotiable for us not to save for the future, especially coming from Nigeria, where you would pay school fees. If you were in Nigeria, you will pay school fees every term.
That's true.
And now, depending on the kind of school your child is in here, you don't pay school fees. Yes, you will pay for supplies and things like that. So we considered it, we will save like we are paying school fees and save that school fees towards their future, top it up, use their RESP. It's not negotiable. Like, depending on the age of the child when you come here, let's say your child is 10, it's 8 years until they are ready for university. That's 8 years for you to plan.
Yeah.
It's 8 years for you to save. It's eight
That's true.
years for you
Thank
to make sure that that better life that we all say we're trying to give our children better life. What exactly does that better life look like? Because when I went to university, my parents paid. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to get multiple jobs while I was studying. My parents
Yeah.
paid. And for me, the goal is to send my children to university and pay for it, just so that I don't send them to university. They come out of university, they are $60,000 in debt because they had to pay for their own education.
Oh
Am I
my God.
giving them a better life like that if their life is going to
No
start
way.
off on the pedestal of debt?
No way.
Student loans
Thank you
sets people
so
back
much,
by how
Marina.
many years?
You're very insightful and detailed how you
Very.
have been able
Yeah.
to navigate saving and all the rest. Wumi, I know you're there waiting on the side, and I know you have something to add. So go ahead, my sister.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there are 2 points, questions that were asked. Marina was able to shed more light on. I will talk about the first. I will also, but for the second part, it's more of a learning curve for me, I must say, and I've learned a lot from her right here, I must say,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the viewers that are new immigrants in Canada have also taken something from it. Like I said, it's very important if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. If you do
Yeah.
not understand the reason why you're in Canada and you are not true to yourself on that purpose, abuse is inevitable. You are bringing your children to Canada. Why? Are you fulfilling the why? That's all in all this. You see, parents who send their kids, we had an example like Anthony Joshua, a celebrity that was sent back home because he was a troublesome child to go get some kind of training in Nigeria from Nigerian boarding school. I would say that was a good move by the parents. They were intentional. They did not fall away from their purpose. They know the reason why they migrated to the UK is not to get their child destroyed. And if that reason, the reason why they took their child to the UK is not being fulfilled by keeping the child in the UK, then you go back to Nigeria. And that was what they did from the story I heard about Anthony Joshua. Now, coming back to technology, um, yeah, I've had an experience that I would love to share. I have an 8-year-old child. She was the only child for about 7 years before we moved into this country. And then I had my twins after 2 months. We moved in. So we've had a struggle in Nigeria with technology. I completely took tab of her. My husband is a techie person, is an IT person, and it did not make any sense to him. Like, why would you take technology completely away from a child? We had that back and forth just because she was abusing. That's not the right way to do it. You channel it. And so what
Yeah.
did we do? We got a coding class for her that was run by some Indian Indian company, and then we got her registered for that coding class and got her more interested in coding. Like she's been on that coding class for like I think 2 years now, and it's every weekend. So she looks forward to it. She does assignments from it. That is what she does on the computer most of the time. Of course, she's a child. She will want to explore other things. So we try to put in checks, like Marina said.
Yeah.
So it's just like what you said, let the child guide you. It
Yeah.
was a very challenging one back home in Nigeria. She'll wake up in the middle of the night and she'll pick up her laptop. She was even watching movies that we were not aware of. We did a lot of things, called grandma, told grandma to talk to her. It was a vice for a 7. She was barely 7 then, but she loved the system. She loved screen. She loved it. So we had to let her guide us. We had to channel that energy into something that was productive and useful. So we got her on the coding class, and then we put some what do you call it? We put like a password on the laptop, so she doesn't get to use the laptop without me putting in the password. She doesn't. I change the password every now and then because she's a very active child, very curious,
Yeah.
very she's very smart. She could even break into the laptop the way it's going. So we had to we had to do that. I had to take off the laptop. Like I keep the laptop under my under my bed. so, so we had to
Wonderful,
take
wonderful,
those kind of
wonderful.
drastic measures. So
One
there was a day
one
she
thing I
finished her
would,
coding class.
yeah.
There
I'm
was a
so
day she
sorry
finished her coding
because
class
of time
despite all these
constraints.
measures. Okay,
Sorry,
okay,
Bumi, because of time constraints.
okay, okay. No
Forgive me,
problem.
my wonderful
No
guests.
problem. It's
Because of
fine.
constraint, I will be interrupting you and
Yeah,
interjecting so
sure,
that we can get
sure.
all the information out, and
Yeah.
our viewers can get the most out of this topic. It's
Mm.
becoming a pattern where we need more time, producer. We need more time.
More.
It's a
Yeah,
very
so
interesting one, I must say.
I have one more
Yeah,
question, but I'm just going to put this on top of what Marina and Bumi has said. Participate.
yeah.
Watch what they are watching. If they're watching
Hmm.
Roblox, I know it's the most boring thing to watch, at least from my own point of
That's.
view. When we watch cartoons and animation, they were
Mhm.
beautiful and
Mm.
really beautiful. And but you see all these funny blocks running up and down,
Hmm.
and my daughter is hysterical, laughing her heart away. So I try to
Hmm.
watch. Reason is I want to see the content of what she's
Hmm.
looking at, because we've seen incidences where they take an innocent cartoon and
Hmm.
people turn it into something else. So one way you can ensure that you're raising your kid right, participate, watch, try and see what is the communication, what is the information that is being passed through this game, through this. I remember one
Hmm.
time my daughter, there was this song on scene 95, everybody wants to be my enemy. She was singing, I said, no, don't sing that. It's you're prophesying something on yourself. So you
Hmm.
have to pay attention. You have to really keep a close eye. I don't know if we
To add
still
to
have
what you have
some of
said, just
those.
like an example, because you
Yeah,
mentioned Roblox, I was going to say that quickly eat on that because it's important. Many people
yeah,
don't know even that Roblox thing. So I was watching my daughter one day. I came from the staircase. The way the place she sits, her workstation, is positioned in such a way that if I'm coming from my room down the stairs, I can see what she's
yeah.
doing. So I was coming down and I saw her singing and dancing and she was enjoying herself. It was after her coding class, mind you. I was to take the laptop 30 minutes after her coding class and have it. And then I said, what are you doing? And she said, she's on Roadblocks, that they're having a party. I was like, what kind of party? You're
Mm-hmm.
enjoying yourself. Well, give me one of the hair piece because
Yeah.
this hair piece. And then I was, and then the next thing I saw Pride Month. They are celebrating Pride Month. And then I said, you know what they are celebrating? Pride Month. It's Pride. I said, what is about Pride Month? What do you know about Pride Month? And she said, it's month of Pride. I said, no, you know something about Pride Month, madam.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Pride Month? She really didn't know. She really didn't know what
Wow.
Pride Month was. She's just
Wow.
8 years old. She just clocked 8 in June. So I had to explain
You
to her
see.
because she has seen the word and
Mm-hmm.
she's going to see it somewhere else. So I said to her,
Wonderful.
I said, God created us in a particular way. And, this is our belief, this is our
Yeah.
culture. And it
Totally.
doesn't make those people bad. It doesn't make them bad.
Mm-hmm.
They are just in that
Mm-hmm.
certain way, but it's against our belief. As Christians and as Africans, it's just against what we believe. And because God has created you in that way, be proud,
Mm-hmm.
be proud of your identity, be proud of who you are. And this
Totally.
is how
Bumi,
you should
forgive me.
be.
I'm
Yeah.
going to jump
Yeah. So
right in again. Please, please forgive me.
yeah, no
Please forgive
problem.
me. I'm
That's
going to
fine.
be
I said
interrupting
what
you
I need to
guys
say.
like crazy. So
Yeah.
we still have more public opinion on this subject matter, and
Mm,
we're going to jump right into some videos so that you can also hear what they have to say. Stay on the
mm.
dial.
As the question is raising a child in the 21st century and also in a different culture. Um, for me, diversity is really good and it's important in a kid's life. Living here in Saskatoon, beautiful Saskatoon, it's all about family and it kind of complement my culture, which is Jamaica. It's all about family and the safety. My challenge in the 21st century now, raising my kid education wise, I think what is kind of lacking is their using their brain. It's so technology is good, and it's good to be technology savvy, but in my culture where I'm from, everything was all about your imagination, thinking skill, and critical skills and stuff like that. Here, everything is gadget, computers, and it kind of limit their imagination. It kind of limit their own intellectual skills. And how I integrate that with it is balancing. Balancing is really important, and sticking to your culture and teaching your culture to continue your generational line and stuff like that. That is what I kind of use by in my household. I try to stick to my tradition. I try to stick to my culture because I know when they're in school, it's all about the internet, technology, and stuff like that. But I kind of like the balance. If us parents can keep our tradition in our household, then I believe that the balance with the 21st century and what we grew up with, it can coexist.
The opinion I would want to go with is parents needing to be one step ahead of the kids they are bringing up. I would want to do the part of number one, the scriptures. The Bible speaking to us says, train up a child the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. I think it's on the parents to have a plan in mind. What exactly would I want to see this child turn out to be? Would I want him or her becoming someone of global importance, or would I want such a child remaining in the dungeons of the hills of society? So the parent, number one, has to have a plan, and based on that plan, nurture that child, guide that child, make sure the school the child goes to, the people he or she associates with, are all in line with the plan he or she has. Yeah, and also a parent owes he or herself the responsibility of being technologically advanced. Yeah, because everything plays out in a social palace. What you see your children do, how they behave, what they might eventually turn out to be, you see it in a social palace, and you can bring it home, begin to see those traits, and guide them away from it. So it's a global world we find ourselves these days, that you are in this country and you feel kids are liberal enough to do whatever they want to do. Even back home where we are from, African countries, children themselves find themselves in social environment where they can get these attitudes or these things we want them dissociated from, and they begin to become those things even in countries like that. So being in this world opens up our eyes, gives us the opportunity, gives us an advantage to be able to bring up our children in the way that they should go, and that can be achieved if we are one step ahead while bringing them up.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for that wonderful video. I've learned a lot. We have a question from Chidima. Chidima says on YouTube, and she's addressing this question to Marina. She wants to know, at what point do we start saving as immigrants, especially new immigrants, considering the cost of living, groceries, and all that stuff? At what point do you start saving for the future of the children? And this question is for Marina.
Okay. So for us, we started to save as soon as we started to get childcare benefits. Like I said, we considered it not our money. It was like a nice addition to have. It was not when we were coming here, we didn't know. We didn't know that there was such a thing like the government was going to pay the child every month. So when that came up, it was a surprise. It was a great buffer, I'm going to be honest, because a lot of people come with a lot of money. Like if you're coming from a country like Nigeria, even if you're coming with millions, by the time you do the conversion, it's not a lot anymore. But one of the first decisions that we made, like what Bumi was saying, is to tell yourself the truth. Telling ourselves the truth, we started to do things that we could afford. We lived in an apartment that we could afford. We bought a very old car that we paid for outright. So we were not saddled with the responsibility of making monthly car payments every month. It was an old car. I really like that car. I kind of miss it, but the car was
I can
reliable. It
relate.
took me from point A to point B. That was what was important. So I didn't
Yeah.
try to keep up with the Joneses, to go and live in apartments I
Mm-mm.
couldn't afford, that it was a struggle to pay rent, or to keep up with your expenses was a struggle. We were able to keep our expenses below what we were earning. So no matter how little it was, there was something to put away every month. So that's the advice I'll give this person. Like, it's very expensive right now. Inflation is over the roof. The cost of everything is sky high. You have to tell yourself the truth. What can you afford? What is sustainable for your family? And that's what you should stick with. Start with the childcare
Sure.
benefits. If you still receive childcare benefits, some of us don't, very painful, but okay. If you still receive benefits, no matter how little, remove something from it and put it away. Compound interest is going to play a role, because university is still a couple of years away for me. So no matter how little I put right now, over the years it will grow and it will come close to, what is sustainable, depending on what the cost of education will be then. So there's the right time to save. It was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Even if it's $50, put it away. Even if it's 25, whatever, no matter how little, put it away and watch compound interest do its magic. So that's what I would say.
Thank you so much.
Always very detailed where you give your responses, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very
So,
detailed.
in the
Yeah.
course of this episode, we moved from the educational to the technology to the financial. I'm going to ask something that is more of a social question, and I'm channeling this question to Bumi. So, coming from Nigeria to this new place, sleepovers was not something that was common. Now you come here. I see you rolling your eyes.
The elephant in the
Sleepovers was
room.
not something that was common. Now you have your kids and they say, "Oh, I'm going to my friend's house for a sleepover. We have our girls' time out." It's foreign to me. And how do you navigate that, or not navigate? What are your views? And the same goes for Marina. I know you have not been here for very long, but it's coming. It's coming, Bumi. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think about that? And I would like to hear.
Yeah, I think it might sound a bit extreme to some people, but I don't. It's okay to just know the kind of child. I always tell people, parenting, you need to know your child. You need to know the kind of child you have, and there can be some uniqueness in the way you parent, because every child is unique. So my child knows that I know her, and both the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I use that when she comes. She has actually said to me she wants to do a sleepover, and I said to her that this. You know, I won't allow you to go on sleepover now, because I don't think you are mentally ready. You are psychologically, psychologically, behaviorally ready. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for, to
Mhm.
have a sleepover or go to someone else's. My eyes needs to still be on you. I give her the reason, because I understand it's a system where they always have to ask why. And I tell her the why is you. I need my eyes still needs to be on you. You know that you're still a child, you're still my baby. So I need to be able to look after you. I need to be able to look over you. I don't mind if your friends come over. I really don't mind, but I've not had any of that so far. So
Okay.
she's able to, maybe because of our culture too, she's able to understand. I speak my language, so she's able to understand boundaries. Like
Okay.
back home, we've got boundaries. Like you don't go to people's house, we do our thing and all that. So
What are your
she
thoughts,
grew in that culture.
Marina,
So
on this
yeah.
topic, on
Mm,
this question rather?
mm,
What are your thoughts?
mm,
Okay. So for us, it's a conversation that has come up, and
mm,
I would say I say no to random sleepovers. And what I call random is, oh, I have a friend in my class, or we're planning something, we want to go for a sleepover to a random person's house. I knew that at
mm,
first, initially, when we started to have this conversation, it was a flat out no every time. But I
Mhm.
knew that I was not going to win if I said no to everything. So we
exactly.
started to intentionally create our own community as a family. We created
Mm,
a support system with other families that share similar values, that share similar ideologies. So we have like a small village going, like a couple of families have come together where we know that we're all aligned, we're on the same page with the kind of values that we're trying to inculcate in our children. So our sleepovers can only happen within that village, because these are the parents that I know. These are the people that I am sure of. If I am not here, I can send my kids. Like I went on a trip, like my husband and a couple of other couples, parents only, and our children all stayed together. We could
Yeah.
pair them, like these two families, the children will have a sleepover while we're away. It was like for about 8 days. So it was not random. It's only for those families that are within the same support system that share similar values. That's where sleepovers can happen. But as for the random ones, they know not to ask, because unless I know who the parents are, unless I understand the values and the things that govern that family, I'm sorry, my child is not going to go there. You're welcome to come to mine, because I know that we're not crazy here. But
Yeah.
I don't know if there's madness in the family on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can be crazy. Like you people can sleepwalk and mistakenly just stroll into the room where the girl is and go and be
Ah.
inappropriate. You can be crazy like that in your family. You can't take a chance with my child. So no, I'd rather be the wicked mom now and protect them as against trying to be cool and then expose them to trouble. So no, no, no to random
Exactly.
sleepovers. Flat
Thank
out
you,
no.
Bumi, and thank you, Marina. Always, both of you. I like the fact that you give very detailed answer. It's not ambiguous. It's straight to the point. There are steps to follow. So,
Yeah.
viewers, I hope you are taking notes. I know you have a comment on
Yeah.
our YouTube handle. Over to you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I want to just chip this in. Please send in your comments to our YouTube, and we're going to read every question that we see there, okay? So, Marina, this is also for you. And please, Bumi, feel free to chip in once Marina is done, okay? Because I know Marina has been here for a while, so she will have, one or two things. So,
Yeah.
this is from Osas on YouTube, and it says, "What can parents do to keep their kids engaged? Many parents are not sure how to navigate this, especially during the long hauls. What are those activities? You just say, I keep them engaged. What do you do to keep your children engaged? Give us tips. I want to learn."
This one is a struggle that all of us. I'm also in that boat where some days I'm trying to imagine, like,
We
what
are
do I do?
together.
Honestly, you guys, there are some days where I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting these children up on Kijiji for sale. Buy one, get one free. I can't do it. Some days, some days it's a lot. Some days it's a bit of a lot. But what I've tried to do before, as the holiday started, I told them, I said, this holiday we're going to try to do a project where, if you guys have complete stars, so we do it like you have to complete some kind of chores that are outside their typical chores they would do a day. So say for instance, if your duty today is to do the dishes, you do the dishes and then you help me clean my room, or you do something else, you get a star. And for this week, if you get 5 straight stars, there's a prize at the end of the week. So it was something for them to look forward to. And this price it could just be a trip to Dollarama for them to pick out something they like themselves. What's the most expensive thing in Dollarama? Maybe like less than $10. That was the price. So that was one activity I used to keep them engaged for the week. Because I work from home. So while they're home, I also have to use that to keep them from coming to knock 10 times a day while I'm home. So that was something that really kept them busy. And then we also tried books, like read. You're going to read a book, and at the end of the week, you're going to come and like tell me about the book. Tell me what you learned from the book. What was the lesson? So we'll go to the library, get books, they will read. And this is outside of their screen time. So we portion the day in such a way that, okay, this is the time for this is the time to read, this is the time to ride the bike, this is the time to do like assignments. We still try to keep a bit of schoolwork involved. So they did schoolwork in the 2 months that we're away. And then we also introduced projects. I told them I was going to teach them, we're going to learn something new this holiday. And what I did was teach them about money, teach them the value of earning money. So beyond earning a star where you get a prize at the end of the week, if you keep that up for 2 straight weeks, I'm going to pay you. It was like $2. I'm owing them. I have not paid. It was $2. I was like,
Mommy.
I'm gathering it. I'll give them at once. I
Mommy.
promise.
African mommy.
I will pay. I'll pay get away. You don't know my children. They will collect that money from me. So it was teaching them about the value of earning money, the importance of work, the value you get from work. And then even with the money that they earn, I teach them the importance of, okay, if you have $5, you don't just go to the store and use $5 to buy candy. You can use $1 to buy candy. We can put $2 in saving. We can put $2 in investing. I opened my bank app and showed them their bank account. Like, this is the amount of money that mommy has been able to save for you. And when we invest, this is what it has become. So that's a project that we went on as well. Just learned about money, how you can work, how you can save, the value of money, and the importance of work to earn money. So not every time you come and say, mommy, I want this, it is work that brings out that thing I used to pay for the thing. You say, mommy, I want. So you too learn
Yeah.
that it is work that brings money. So just small projects like that. And then we have friends that we
Okay.
try to do a lot of visiting. So trying to keep them out of the house is how I keep them engaged. It's hard work. It was a struggle. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie.
All right. So,
Wow,
Bumi, do you have
Marina,
anything to
I think
contribute?
I'm going to I think I'm going to come to Marina for. I'm going to add that as a
For
lifelong
coaching
learner. I'm going
Yes,
to add
classes.
that to my
me too.
tutors list. I'm coming to Marina live. I can't let this go. Marina, I'm your sister now. As in, we've connected on this
New
portal. Please
students.
You're
don't
welcome.
drop the heart. Please, I'm your
You are
student.
welcome.
Okay, so talking about engaging my daughter, my own reality. My mom is around, so it's a blessing. So she's taking care
I'm
of
not
the
jealous
twins,
at
and
all, Bumi.
then
I'm
yeah,
not
so
jealous.
don't be. I still experience that stress. Yeah, of course, because I'm trying to juggle so many things at the same time. So, just like what Marina said, I will just share some few tips of what I've been doing with her. So, my mom speaks French and she understands French. She's not been able to pass that
Oh,
knowledge to all her children. I don't know what happened. So, I kind of tried to bully her to get my child to understand the language now. So, we have this timetable for every week. So she teaches her French on Monday. I take over. She also teaches her Yoruba language and makes her do some activities. My daughter likes the camera, so she learns those activities. She does presentation, and then she takes video presentations, and they were saving it somewhere to show up later. Yeah, so she
that's
loves
a
that. She
content
loves this
creator
thing,
in the
and
making,
then
Bumi.
yes, exactly.
Yes, sir.
So and then she, yeah, and then she the on Wednesday, no, on Wednesday we go out to the park. Then on Thursday we do Nigerian history and culture. So we learn things about Nigeria, Nigerian flag, everything about Nigeria, that kind of thing, different states and capital, the present political climate and all that. So, and then she does presentation on them too, and then she does artwork
Oh,
from it. So we try. That doesn't mean there are not weeks that we drop the ball.
true
So
that.
there are some weeks that we don't follow. But I'm just saying, like these, like few tips that can help. And as diaspora parents, I felt like we just jumped
Wow,
in. We came
wow, wow,
in when
wow,
our
wow.
session was just resuming. Yeah. So we came in when our session was just resuming. We jumped in September. So she just went straight into school. So she witnessed a lot of cultural shock and struggles. So I feel like this is the right time to, get her to see the difference and appreciate, the difference and also embrace her identity. So that's exactly what I'm doing as a diaspora parent to reorientate her, and help her in our next school session. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Amazing.
I should become a student of both Marina and I tell you, and Bumi, I'm coming to be your student. Oh. I'm a very good student. Oh.
Please,
Thank you
can I just
so
add something
Thank
much.
you.
quickly?
Yeah,
Can
go
I
ahead.
just add something
Yeah.
quickly to what Bumi said? I
Yeah.
totally appreciate the
Yeah.
fact that you're teaching your daughter about Nigeria. That's
Yeah.
something that
Mm,
I was going to add to what I wanted to do this summer, but we couldn't get to it.
mm,
And I think that
mm,
is particularly important from like an identity perspective. I
Mm-hmm.
don't fully, I
mm.
think I overheard it earlier. I don't fully subscribe to us as diasporan parents using "I'll take you back to Nigeria" to threaten kids. I think that's dangerous. And here's
It's not
why.
right.
If you're
Mm,
telling a
mm,
child that you are from somewhere, you have to give them something to be proud of about that place where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
every time you use it to threaten them, you're adding a negative connotation to that thing that they're supposed to be proud of. Why should they
mm,
be afraid of going back to Nigeria? Why is that such a thing to fear? Yes, our
mm,
country is not where we want it to be, but should that be a reason why they should become afraid of where they're from? How then do
Mm.
you want them to connect with their roots, with their
mm.
identity? My son in
Oh, deep.
class, they told him that
That's
in
deep.
Nigeria they build houses with wood, children, people ride horses and things like that. I didn't argue. I just called him. I said, "Sit down." I brought out my laptop and I googled, "Show me houses in Lagos, Nigeria." And I showed him, I'm like, do you see any houses built with wood? I showed him, I said, this is where your cousin lives, this is where your auntie lives. Is it made of wood? No. The next time my son went to school and they say houses in Nigeria are built of wood, my son was like, come, let me show you something. They went to the library and he showed them houses in Lagos,
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria.
Good.
So that's how we're
Very
supposed
good.
to be arming them with things that they can use to fight back. We're not going to be able
Yeah.
to achieve that if you are painting Nigeria as a prison, as a zoo, a place to be feared, as punishment for the child.
Mm.
So for those of us who do that, we want to be careful. You cannot paint it as a zoo and paint it as an identity or something to be proud of at the same time. You must have to pick one. So yeah,
Wow,
that's
thank
just
you.
what I wanted
So
to add.
so
So I really like
That's
that you're
new.
insightful.
Thank
teaching
you.
them.
So
Yeah.
so
Thank
insightful,
you.
Marina. You see why I want to be your
Very,
student.
very.
Very very insightful.
Why
Thank
are you
you so
struggling with
much,
me now? I was
ladies.
the one that said it.
Ah,
Abi,
not
sorry.
Why are
really.
I
you
just
trying to
had
take my
to.
place?
I'm sorry. I just
Thank
had
you.
to.
Thank
Had
you.
to add a little to
Wonderful.
that.
Wonderful, wonderful contribution. As always, time is
Yeah.
not our friend on this show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Producer, please, we probably would have an extension of this topic in our upcoming episode. So we are going to have to wrap up the show. Just final words from our guest and final words from my co-host, so that we can wrap up the show. I will start with Bumi to Marina and then to Eme. Bumi, take the floor.
Yeah, we're Nigerians, we're Africans, and we're proud. So I would say retain your identity, maintain your authenticity, and be proudly Nigerian in the diaspora if you're one.
Okay, that I guess that's me then. Parenting is a lifelong learning process. You're going to spend your whole life parenting. It's not something that you figure out in a day. Nobody came with a script. None of us had children and suddenly somebody handed us a manual. We're all just figuring it out somewhere, somehow. Give yourself some grace as a parent. You're doing the best that you can. You're doing the best that you can. Your child is an independent individual. They are independent of you. We must start to look at our children and see independent individual, not try to think for them, do everything for them, so that you don't raise a zombie, so that you don't raise people who will not be able to question things. Look at them and see a different person. Okay, our job as parents are like guides, we're like stewards. At the end of the day, God is my father. God is also the father of my children. God is not a grandfather. It's not my children's grandfather, it's their father as well. So when you don't know what to do, go back to the source. If you're a Christian, if that's what you believe in, understand that the Bible is equipped with everything that you need for all things life, marriage, parenting, everything. So don't forget that. Don't negate that place. Also, as a parent, I will encourage all of us to get involved. In your children's school, there are school boards that call for parent volunteers from time to time. Volunteer and join those boards. That's where some of the decisions that we're struggling with are made. Until we start to go into these circles where the decisions are made, we're just going to be struggling with after effects. Let us start to influence the decisions as well. Join those boards, make a difference, make a difference. Stand up, let your children see you standing up for something. It might make the journey easier down the line. So God will help us all as we navigate this journey together.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. She has said it. See, Marina has said it all from my mouth. All I can say is be kind to yourself, be kind to your children, and just know that you're doing a good job as a parent. Okay, that's it. Have a lovely, lovely,
Wonderful.
lovely, lovely, lovely week.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you to all those that contributed from the Jamaican community, from the Nigerian community. We learned a lot from your videos. Thank you to our producers for making us look seamless, beautiful, and being able to reach to you today. I want to leave you with this that I always do. Life is for the living. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.